Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. Haven't made a top 10 video for quite a while. I think it's been a couple years now of my top 10 benefits or the things that I love most about a raw vegan diet. So that's what I'm gonna do here today. I'm gonna cover my top 10 benefits of a raw vegan diet and how it has just impacted my life in such an amazing way. And I think anybody that just starts to incorporate more fruits and vegetables, it doesn't have to be 100% raw. I'm personally not 100% raw. I'm very high raw. A lot of the times, for good chunks of time, I am 100% raw, as much as practical. And, it has served me so well. And so I just want to go over 10 or so of the top things that come to mind. And I would also recommend checking out my other video that I made a couple years ago, my top 10 benefits of a raw vegan diet. I will link that down below so you can check that one out after you watch this one. All right, guys, so the first thing that came to mind when I was coming up with this list was my energy levels. When I go hiking or when I go running, I feel like my energy seriously never runs out. When I'm running, of course, sometimes I may, if I do get tired, I will I'll start to walk for a little bit, but it doesn't take long and I'm honestly ready to start going at it full speed again. So it's like my energy, my stamina, it just never completely drains. When I'm hiking, I feel like I can honestly just hike full speed, up the steepest hills, and I can just keep going. I have to push myself sometimes, but it's just like it never completely runs out. So that is one thing that has been so nice, because when I was younger, I dealt with asthma, and that really impacted how much physical activity I could do. Without getting like a tight chest, I would start to wheeze and it would just be difficult to breathe. And so, I guess kind of lumping that in with this, not that it has to do with energy levels, but it completely cleared that up. I no longer deal with any sort of tight chest or wheeziness, no difficulty breathing, and so it has just been amazing on all fronts, including my energy and just my ability to maintain high levels of physical activity. All right, so the second thing on my list here is no chronic conditions. And so this would also include the asthma that I just talked about. I no longer have asthma. I no longer deal with eczema, other skin issues, dry skin, depression, all these issues that I had for several years. I no longer have to deal with them. And I attribute a lot of that to eating a diet that is designed for my body, that is full of hydration, full of electrolytes, full of anti-inflammatory compounds that help to soothe and just cleanse and heal my body, and it allows my body to heal itself. And that's the main thing, is just getting out of the way of the body, letting it do its thing. It's designed to heal itself, so eating foods that are just so easily digested and just so high in micronutrients and other compounds that just aid the body in doing what it has to do. It makes a huge difference, at least it did for me, in terms of, alleviating these chronic conditions that I was dealing with, and it really, really improved the quality of my life. All right, number 3 is emotional balance, and this ties in with the last one as well. These all kind of tie in together, but emotional balance, obviously you're going to be emotionally in a better state when you don't deal with chronic issues, especially like breathing issues. I can tell you that is some of the most stressful conditions to be in, is to feel like you can't breathe for a long period of time. And so, my emotional balance is just so much better. Again, no more depression. I do still deal with some anxiety, social anxiety, but the depression side of things, I feel like I have absolutely none. I'm very positive. I have a very positive outlook on life, and just, me personally, I'm just so much happier with myself as a person, and just internally, my thoughts are much, much healthier. My emotions have never been better. And again, I attribute this to, the foods promote a healthy gut and a healthy gut microbiome. And people don't realize the connection between our gut status, our microbiome, and the balance between good and not so good bacteria. That has a direct link to our brain and how our brain functions. And so when you clean up the gut, you remove all the mucus and pus and all the undigested food and proteins that ferment and putrefy and cause a lot of toxins that impact our brain function. So you clear all that out, and all of a sudden your brain starts to clear up, your mind starts to clear up, your thoughts get better. This is just my personal experience, so this is all what happened for me. And I just encourage anybody that's dealing with, poor thoughts, poor mental outlook, to consider a high raw or just a plant-based whole food diet, and just experiment with it. See how you feel after eating this way for a few months. I was pleasantly surprised, and I wasn't even doing it for that reason. It was just a perk. It was just a bonus to all the other benefits that I received, and I could not be happier with the results that I've gotten. And so again, my emotional balance, my emotional health has really improved, really balanced out at a high level. And I'm just so grateful for coming across this lifestyle and letting my body get back into its natural balance, both physically and mentally and spiritually. It all lines up, and so this is just such a great diet. All right, number 4 is hormonal balance. I'm no longer taking in animal hormones, these exogenous hormones that the animals created when they were stressed out, when they were depressed, they were sad, they were angry. They have testosterone and cortisol and estrogens running through their bodies, and we're consuming that. And hormones are very powerful compounds, and so it doesn't take a lot to throw things out of whack when we're taking in these exogenous hormones. I can just feel the difference, and this is just on more of biological level, the hormones themselves, but also I feel that the metaphysical aspects come into play as well. So the animals feeling the fear, feeling the torture, the depression, the anger, and the aggression, all these different emotions that they're feeling is within their tissue, and we're taking that in. And so I have noticed, just a balanced feeling within myself, more calm, more peaceful. I'm not as aggressive. I don't get as angry as I ever used to. So there are just so many differences in how I feel. And I know that has to do with the hormonal balance that I have in my body now compared to when I was taking in all those other hormones from the animals that I was consuming. Also, my sex drive is so much more healthy. I look at sex in such a more healthy mindset now, and I think we can look at society and notice that everything is overly sexualized. People are just obsessed with sex. Everybody's aggressive and just it's clear that something is out of balance. And for me personally, I used to be like that. My sex drive was extremely high, unhealthy high, and it was just so unbalanced. And now sex is something that I look at in a healthy way. It's not like an obsession. It's just a part of life now, rather than I'm sure you know what I mean. But so it's been such a transformation hormonally, and again, it's just something that you have to feel for yourself to really understand the difference. All right, number 5 is delicious food. So a little lighter of a topic. The food is amazing. I seriously love every meal that I consume now. And it's not that I didn't enjoy the food that I was eating back when I was eating animal products. It tasted fine, but it was more of a love-hate relationship. So I loved eating it at the time, but it didn't really love me back. It didn't make me feel good. It made me feel bloated and fatigued and just depressed. And so now I'm eating foods that I really love, and they really love me back. You know, they make me feel amazing. I'm never sick, and it's just such an amazing experience of eating fresh, ripe, hydrating plant foods that you just, when you eat it, you know you were designed for it. And that's one thing that, you know, some people will say that, you know, I don't really like salad, or I don't really like fruit. You know, their taste buds just don't pick up on the flavor. They feel like it's dull. You know, that will change. I experienced this as well. You know, I hardly ate any fruit when I lived in my previous lifestyle. You know, I would eat salads, but it would be drenched in ranch, and it would have, you know, other cheese and other animal products on it. And so it was just like some salad with a big pile of, you know, mucus forming, toxifying other stuff. So, again, my taste buds completely transformed. I seriously feel like I have more of like a flavorful experience in everything that I eat now compared to back then. Even though I was eating really stimulating foods and, you know, condiments or things like MSG, artificial, you know, flavorings and things. So now, even though I'm not consuming those stimulating things, my taste buds are just so much more sensitive. They can taste all the delicate flavors, and the flavors are just so much more intense now. And so when you feel like fruits and vegetables might be kind of dull, you have to give it some time and let your taste buds readjust. You let your gut microbiome readjust, get to a healthy balance, and then your taste is going to change. And you're going to really start to love the taste of fruits and vegetables. You're going to crave them because that is what your body is designed to eat. So personally, I could not be happier with all the different flavors and textures that I get to consume now. And, you know, eating animal products, while, you know, it felt good at the time when I was eating it, it didn't love me back. And it's just so much better of a life to have the things in your life, whether it's food or people or just your circumstances, love you back as much as you love them. And so that is what eating this way does, and it is so, so delicious. All right, number 6 is no more sick days. I get sick maybe once every couple years, and when I say sick, you know, I had little air quotes there, because when you understand what being sick is, you understand that you're not, I mean, calling it sick, being sick is kind of a misnomer. You know, really it's just your body is starting to cleanse. Your body is starting to eliminate things that have accumulated within you, and it's starting to impact its daily normal function. And so it has to get rid of it. And that shows up as colds or flus or whatever else, you know, other, you know, conditions people get. And so personally, I will get like a very slight, it feels like a cold every couple years, like once every couple years basically. And it's so light, it really doesn't even impact like my daily activity. I still do everything that I normally do. I might sleep a little bit more, but that's about it, and it's gone in just a couple days. And so it's so amazing that, you know, when we eat the way that we're supposed to eat, our body no longer gets sick. You know, like I said, I'll get maybe a slight cold every couple years, but, you know, it's really nothing to write home about. It's very mild, and you hardly even notice it. I hardly even notice it. But, yeah, so no more sick days. I feel amazing all the time, and, you know, what's better than that? Number 7 is the amazing community that the raw vegan and vegan, you know, lifestyle brings together. I have met so many amazing people that are in this lifestyle that are making so many, you know, amazing contributions to society and to the animals, and, you know, just trying their best to make the world a better place. And I feel like the vegan community is so good at that, is having that altruistic mindset of helping others and compassion and respect. All different communities, of course, are going to have, both sides of the extreme. But, for the majority of vegans that I have come across, they've all been respectful, compassionate people, and, very easy to get along with. And so that is just something that I really respect, and I really am grateful for, of all the friends that I have made since getting into this lifestyle. It's been really great. All right, number 8 is less of an impact on the environment and the animals. So these are things that I was completely oblivious to when I was living and eating a standard American diet and lifestyle. I had no idea how unnecessary it was to use animals and to eat animals and their secretions. And I didn't realize the impact that it had on the environment. It is so destructive to the environment in so many different ways. The soil, the forests, the lakes and oceans and rivers, the air, greenhouse gases, all these different things, the life in the sea, dead zones, and just, it's honestly, it's almost too overwhelming to even think about all the massive impact that it's having, and no, most people just don't even realize it. And so that is one of the most frustrating things, I think, for a lot of vegans, is when people are just unaware of things that they're doing that are having a huge impact on our environment, and the continuing of its degradation. And so that, it feels good to not be contributing to that as much anymore. Of course, I'm not perfect, and it's nearly impossible to be completely 100% perfect living this way. But, you do as much as you can with the knowledge that you have. And that is the important thing, is that we continue to keep learning, and we continue to keep striving to be better, and, just understanding how to live more cohesively with the environment, with the animals, and with each other. And hopefully we'll get to a point where we aren't completely destroying the planet and our own health. All right, number 9 is my connection with spirituality and just my higher self and my intuition, and just having a higher level of discernment when it comes to recognizing what is ego, what is intuition, and trying as closely as I can to follow my intuition. That's what I always tell you guys, is to follow your raw intuition. And, it can be difficult to do, but once you start to eat this way, you clean out your body, you get all your organs and glands functioning at a higher level, and that synchronizes everything and gets your connection with your intuition much sharper, and it's much easier to hear these little messages that your inner, yourself, that little voice in your head is trying to tell you. I've ignored that voice more than I like to admit, but as I continue to clean out my body, and as I just continue to develop myself and meditate and, just practice self-love, it continues to get easier to follow it and to hear it. And so just having that higher level of awareness of my spirituality and of just my intuition has been a blessing from this way of eating. It is much higher eating this way. It's much higher of a connection when I eat this way as compared to any other way. Even if I'm eating cooked vegan food, it's still much higher when I'm eating raw. And so, that's one of the reasons why I try to eat as raw as I can. I believe it is the natural way we were supposed to eat, and I can feel my connection with my intuition and with myself much more strongly when I do so. All right, my final benefit that I'm going to cover in this video is my introduction to minimalism. I was going to talk about the benefits I've received for my sleep, but I know I talked about that in my previous top 10 video on this subject, and so I'm gonna again link that down below in the description box if you want to check that out. But my introduction to minimalism, it's an amazing way to live. I think, you know, it's basically just trying to live with as small of an environmental footprint as possible. So you're trying to avoid using plastic as much as possible. You're avoiding, you know, over consuming. You avoid having just a lot of junk in your house that you really don't use. You just collect stuff. So, you know, me personally, I donated a very large chunk of my wardrobe. I used to have way too many clothes. Got rid of those. We cleaned out almost everything in the house, and now there's very little, you know, stuff that I really don't need. And so it's a really good feeling. It actually benefits my mental clarity. So when my house is clean and well organized, I feel like my thoughts are a lot cleaner, more well organized. It's a great way to live, especially if you're interested in veganism. You know, it's almost just like an addendum to veganism that helps to benefit everybody on the planet, us, the animals, and, you know, all of nature. And so that wraps up my top 10 list for benefits of a raw vegan diet. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please leave your top 10 benefits of your own down below. And be sure to subscribe, hit the bell button. And if you are interested, you can sign up to my newsletter, which you'll get a free 7-day breakfast guide for eating raw vegan. So that link is down below as well. And if there's any other questions that you guys have, of course, feel free to leave them down below. And until next time, always follow your raw intuition.
Detoxify your mind and body. Be the change you want to see. Small steps towards living better. Small steps to where I want to be.